Welcome back to TLDR's daily briefing for Friday the 18th of July 2025. In today's episode, we cover the EU's new Russian sanctions package, the Syria-Israel fallout, and Trump's request to release transcripts related to convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. But first, the UK announces plans to give 16-year-olds the vote. The UK government has announced plans to lower the voting age to 16 at general elections, in what would be the largest expansion of the voting franchise in more than half a century. In its electoral reform strategy, published on Thursday, the UK's Labour government announced plans to bring forward a bill that would amount to the boldest and most ambitious change to our democracy for decades. As well as lowering the voting age, the strategy also outlines plans to expand forms of voter ID, protect UK elections from foreign interference, close loopholes enabling illegitimate donations to political parties, expand the powers of the Electoral Commission, and crack down on the abuse or intimidation of political candidates. But the measure that's got most people talking is the plan to lower the voting age from 18 to 16. This would mean that around 1.5 million 16 and 17-year-olds will be eligible to vote at the next UK general election. In Scotland and Wales, 16 and 17-year-olds can already vote in local and devolved elections, so this change means the minimum age of 16 will be consistent in all elections across the UK. Only a handful of countries around the world currently have a voting age of 16, such as Austria, Brazil, Argentina, and Cuba, while some, including Germany, Israel, and Estonia, allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in some types of elections, but not all. The response from UK politicians has been mixed so far. Some opposition parties, namely the Liberal Democrats and the Greens, support the move, while others, the Conservatives and Reform UK, oppose it. Some critics, including Reform leader Nigel Farage and Conservative MP James Cleverly, have accused the Labour government of cynicism or attempting to rig the system in the party's favour, although many polling experts believe the political impact of the youth vote will be marginal. For more on the UK's planned electoral reforms, keep your eye on the TLDR News UK channel, as we've got a full explainer coming out tomorrow covering all the key points from the strategy. You're listening to TLDR's Daily Briefing. If you want more explainers on what's happening in the world, then you should check out TLDR's other channels. Today, we released videos on why the EU needs a new trade war strategy, and an episode of our UK politics podcast, Starmageddon. You can find those videos linked in the description or show notes for this episode, or by searching for TLDR on YouTube or Nebula. The EU has agreed a new package of economic and financial sanctions on Russia, including a ban on using the Nord Stream gas pipelines linking Russia with Germany. It also includes a reduction in the G7's price cap on Russian oil exports, reducing it from $60 per barrel to $47.6 per barrel. This would set the price 15% lower than the average market price for Russian oil. Aside from targeting energy, the package also limits Russian banks' access to funding by introducing a ban on financial transactions with Russian banks already excluded from the SWIFT international payment system. It will also hit a further 22 Russian lenders. The package is designed to reduce Russia's war budget and to increase pressure on Moscow amid stalled peace negotiations. Syria's President Ahmed al-Sharaa has accused Israel of seeking endless chaos following days of Israeli strikes on Syria and sectarian clashes in the south of the country. Overnight, Syrian government forces began withdrawing from Suwaida in southern Syria, where they had been sent following an eruption of violence between Druze militias and Bedouin tribes earlier this week. The violence then escalated after Syrian government forces were drawn into the conflict, before a ceasefire was announced on Wednesday. Israel began launching strikes on Suwaida on Monday, when it also struck the Syrian Defense Ministry and near the presidential palace in the capital Damascus. According to Syrian state news, Israel launched another strike on Suwaida on Thursday evening. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel was intervening to protect the Druze, saying on Thursday night, "We will not allow Syrian army forces to enter the region south of Damascus and will not allow any harm to the Druze." Lastly, US President Donald Trump has asked the US Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to seek the release of grand jury transcripts relating to convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. It comes as Trump seeks to downplay controversy over his administration's handling of files related to Epstein. On Thursday, the Wall Street Journal published a story on alleged correspondence between Trump and Epstein, involving a drawing of a naked woman in Epstein's 50th birthday album. Trump denied the report, calling it false, malicious, and defamatory. Then, late on Thursday, Trump posted on Truth Social saying he had asked Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval, following what he called the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein. That's all for today. We'll be back with you next week, so make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen. In the meantime, you can check out the latest episode of our UK politics podcast, Starmageddon. You'll find the link in the podcast description. This was a TLDR news production, hosted and written by Georgina Findlay and produced by Scarlett Watchorn. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again next week.